Welcome back, everyone, to the Coach's Corner. Doing things, like I said, a little bit different. We're going to record all of our videos individually so we don't end up with 45-minute videos anymore. So today we're going to be talking about Bills versus Chargers. Clayton, what are your thoughts?
Oh, Bills versus Chargers. Well, both QBs, played good football. I think you should lead on this one and give us the rundown. What'd you see, Justin?
I think that, Herbert looked good, but, he still looked like a rookie. I think that, especially towards the end of the game when they had a chance maybe to come back and win it, but for sure at least kind of like the Chargers have all here, make it a little bit closer of a game. But, he forced some balls, and I think that there are really no moral victories in sports. There aren't, but if I'm a fan, for fans there are. For players and coaches there aren't. So if I'm a Chargers fan, I'm feeling pretty confident in our future with Herbert. I think that there are still some ways they can make this team better. I mean, they didn't have Austin Eckler for the majority of the season. Injuries happen in football, but you let Gordon walk because you feel confident in Eckler. That, in a way kind of backfired on them a little bit, but at least for this season. I think that, if they shore up the offensive line a little bit and kind of protect their young quarterback as well as help create lanes for their running backs, I think they'll have a pretty good year next year. Plus, I mean, that's not to mention that, their defense is solid. It's not by any means, I think, elite, but they've done all this without Derwin James, who is a great safety, when healthy, maybe one of the best safeties in the league in his own right. And then for the Bills, I think that I believe John Brown has been hurt the last few weeks, and I think that Gabriel Davis has done an excellent job of stepping in his absence. The last few games, he's really starting to show why this last year's class of receivers was such a highly touted class of receivers. And lastly, I think the Bills need to learn more consistency. And what I mean by that is, they're playing against another NFL team, and they're both teams are going to be able to make plays. But I feel like in some games they come out with these really, really good starts, but they finish flat, or they come out flat and they finish strong. So just trying to be more consistent throughout the game, I think will help the Bills a lot more as they continue to push for the playoffs.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you in terms of looking at the Bills and searching for some consistency. I mean, yeah, they put up 27 points on the Chargers, looking good, looking dominant, right? 10-point win. But whenever you actually look at the numbers, Josh Allen only threw for 150 yards. You don't see that in today's NFL anymore. So we're still kind of looking for Josh Allen to be consistent, week in, week out. Excuse me. Obviously, when you're running the ball as well as what the Bills did, you're probably looking to take it away from Justin Herbert more so than you are to air it out. But in a team, whenever you have confidence in your offense, I don't see why they wouldn't have taken some more shots or opened the playbook up a little more than what they did. Chargers played a really good, sound game. What I'm really looking for from the Chargers going forward is, man, you got to find ways to quit losing games. And we've seen it from this franchise, it seems, more often than anybody else. Justin Herbert, man, this kid is just – he's electric. Everything about him. I think he's going to be a winner in this league. I really do think he's going to change this franchise around. Just because, you look at a stat and such as this, the last month of passing, Justin Herbert's thrown for, I believe it's the last 4 or 5 games, 1,800 yards. Mahomes has thrown for 1,700, right? And you compare to that, and it's like, okay, so this is a veteran Mahomes, and Mahomes has been to a Super Bowl, had playoff success. And granted, he's going up against a rookie in Justin Herbert, and Herbert's going stride for stride with him, right? So I think if I'm a Chargers fan, I'm very encouraged of what I'm seeing from a really young quarterback. I mean, you look at his face in press conferences, he's not even done with puberty yet. He's still got acne. I've got acne too, but that's a little different thing, right? So you look at that, and this is a young kid. He's still growing and maturing. This isn't even his final body. He may still have athleticism, that comes as his body matures. That's the scariest part. His arm may not be mature yet. We may not have seen what this kid could do. And mentally, the brain doesn't stop developing especially in the quarterback position. That's the part that keeps them in the game the longest. So to see a quarterback play so well, I mean, throw it 52 times, that's incredible. Throw it 52 times and only have one interception, one mistake. That is such an encouraging sign from this Chargers franchise. It's just searching for positivity. You know, um, this is a better team than what the record shows. And whenever they get a new coach in here in the offseason, I think that's going to be the number one thing is we got to quit limiting mistakes. Okay, things like throwing 2 goal line fades, right?
Mm-hmm.
Going back to last week, going to this week, why did they run it? When you complete a Hail Mary, you get down there, they run it immediately. Granted, is the game out of control? Probably. You're probably not going to get the onside kickback. The statistics and probabilities tell us that. But you spike it or you throw it immediately through the back of the freaking end zone on a slant or on back corner on a fade to just stop the clock. And they ran it. And they cost themselves the ability to even compete at the end of this game. And chances like that, if you get a coach that can control those circumstances for Herbert, we're going to see this team. James, I really believe that. And as a Broncos fan, I'm terrified to say that.
I think being a fan of any of the teams in the AFC West is just terrifying because they're all good. I mean, they're all legitimate. And, we always talk about, the worst division in football right now is the NFC East. But, I mean, if you look around the whole NFL, I mean, a lot of these divisions are pretty competitive. I mean, you look, a lot of the talk was on the NFC West for a lot of it. And, I mean, sure, the Seahawks are good. The Rams are good. Those are kind of, arguably you could say the top 1 and 2 teams, but the Cardinals are good in their own right. And the 49ers, they've been hurt. Injuries happen in football. We've talked about that a lot in football, but yet they're still just kind of hanging out there. And we'll talk a little bit later in our preview section about how, there's a lot of playoff implications, obviously, as the season comes to a close, but especially this week. But don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and check out more of our content at the East West Football Network. Thank you.